Welcome to Denver Theory Lab.
Denver Theory Lab? Okay.
Denver Theory Lab. Let's do it.
Welcome to Denver Theory Lab. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Kyle. That was...
You're going to do that again?
Yeah, let's try that one more time.
Welcome to Denver Theory Lab. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Kyle.
Where we aim to investigate and explore theoretical and practical ideas, conspiracies, events, and practices from an objective point of view to expand our range of thinking. You can make donations to Denver Theory Lab on PayPal at Denver Theory Lab, or you can contact us and find us on Facebook, Instagram, or email us at denvertheorylab@gmail.com. Please send us any questions, comments, or topic suggestions.
We've got a guest joining us here today.
Yeah.
Who's our VIP guest?
My son, Logan, also known as Bogues. I will probably interchange that name numerous times. I guess he got that nickname when he was a little baby.
Smelled like yogurt.
His butt smelled like yogurt. Serious. So it was Logues, and then it was Yogues, and then because of yogurt, and then Yogues the Logues, and then Yogues the Bogues, and then it just evolved into Bogues.
Well, Bogues is a pretty cool nickname.
Yeah.
So let's see, we've got a few topics on the list today, including Sator squares, Bigfoot, and some of the more spiritual aspects of beings like Bigfoot and the Yeti and that sort of thing. But I'm really curious of going into the Sator square.
Yeah, I found that online the other day, and it's written in Latin, supposedly. I mean, I guess there could be a completely different interpretation, but the current interpretation that I found online was written in Latin, and it is a palindrome, but it is a palindrome that not only works with one word, but multiple words in all directions of this square.
And what's a palindrome?
Palindrome means it reads forward and backwards the same. So there's certain words like taco cat. That's a palindrome. Because if you read it forward and you read it backwards, it's the exact same word.
Ah, and I see. So yeah, if you start reading at the back of this one, it says Sator. Okay, yeah.
If you line these up from in a vertical fashion, Sator, Arepo, Tenet, Opera, Rotas, from top to bottom, if you read it from right to left or left to right, it reads the same, but in reverse, right? Or if you read it from top to bottom, it's the same. It's very interesting. So
they think it was a puzzle.
It's a message, supposedly.
It looks like the most common interpretation is that it was a hidden Christian symbolism back when Christianity was still illegal in the Roman Empire.
Yeah, there's a lot of different interpretations, but I think so all of the words except arepo are in the Latin language and are easily translated into Latin, or from Latin rather. And arepo is the one that is in question because there isn't an actual word in Latin for arepo. Most common literal translation is widely accepted and assumes arepo is a proper name, like a name invented just for the puzzle. So Sator can mean sower, planter, founder, or originator, which could mean like originator of the universe, or in a more literal sense, maybe the person sowing the fields, like the farmer. Mm-hmm. And arepo, they're saying proper name. Tenet is he, she holds, keeps, possesses, and guides. It is I think a more deeper meaning is that it is your purpose. Opera means with care or with effort or as work, and rotas means wheels, plural, or plows.
What do you think it was? Do you think it was just a sign for people to know that, hey, Christians gather here or a certain group gathers here?
I think it was like the recipe to live a the recipe to live a good life,
Just written through.
or the message of God per se.
But why written in a puzzle form? So like so I know the most famous Sator Square, the original one, is there in Italy. But apparently they built the same, Sator, Arepo, Tenet, Opera, Rotas. They built the Sator Square into a lot of medieval churches that were tied to the Templars.
Yeah, wasn't it built when Christianity was or the Sator Square kind of appeared during the persecution of Christianity?
Yeah, the one in Italy, the original one is supposedly dates back to before Christianity was the official religion of the empire. But they later went on and continued to write this or put this in churches. Later on, once Christianity was the official religion of the empire, in churches associated with the Knights Templar. So some of the stuff online says that maybe it's a magical phrase, if you will, that the letters or the phrases themselves might be part of whatever magic they think they're doing or that they are doing. And some of the things just say it's like a protective charm.
Yeah. One of the translations is the sower Arepo holds the wheels with care. And that's assuming that Arepo is a name. I saw somewhere that they were talking that Arepo actually, if you break it down even further than just one word, it starts with an A and ends with an O, which would symbolize alpha to omega, and rep meaning repeat. So the sower starts from beginning to end and repeats and holds his work and wheels with care. So basically,
To a metaphor for like God in the universe of He creates and this is it like is that what you're thinking? It's just like a phrase to say, hey, like the cycle is endless, is infinite.
yeah. It's like it's an endless cycle that everybody needs to continue, and I don't have anything profound to say about it.
Well, there's a few different angles of people thinking different things with it. So there's apparently some of the medieval priests used the Sator Square in exorcisms or in special prayers, kind of reinforce the aura of mystery around it. And in some of these churches where it's carved, in some of these Knights Templar associated churches, it's carved next to other mysterious symbols. So there's some speculation that it was a cipher for hidden teachings of the Knights Templar or of the church, like a cipher meant to be there. And here's an interesting angle. It kind of ties into some of the stuff we've talked about in previous episodes. So some researchers claim that churches with the Sator Squares are built on geomantic power points or ley line intersections of nodes of energy.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And that would make me wonder why that. Why? Because if you're just trying to mark that, hey, this building's at a ley line intersection, couldn't you just do that with a symbol? Couldn't there just be some symbol you use that you carve into the building to be like, oh, yep, this symbol means that? And then final ones, occult Christian mysticism conspiracies suggest that the church publicly used it as a harmless decoration, but initiates knew it as a cosmic code tied to creation, time, and divine cycles. And that kind of sounds like what you were saying there.
Yeah. What do you think, Bogues?
I don't know.
What do you think? Do you think it has to do with creation, or it's a secret code? Because it shows up all over
I think
repeatedly.
it's like a secret code, maybe.
Yeah.
I could see it being a cipher, especially if you leave it in multiple locations. If you're spreading some organization like the Templars or the church, and you're trying to bring initiates in all these different places, and you have some secret like version of Pig Latin or something like that, more complicated, of course, then you would need to have a cipher that they could use in multiple locations. You wouldn't want it to be something you're handing around.
Right. Yeah. I think it's it's obviously meant to be a puzzle, right? Because
It's not clear.
it's cryptic.
Yeah,
right?
it's not. Otherwise, it would be clear when we look at it.
Maybe it's meant to see how that person interprets it, to see what sort of wavelength they're on.
So yeah, some of the historical church appearances of it. They got in France, it's carved into the walls of churches. In Italy, found in several churches, especially medieval ones, near Siena, and a Cistercian monastery associated with the Knights Templar. In England, famous example on the Church of St. Peter. And in Central Europe, versions show up in Poland, Austria, Germany, carved into church beams and masonry. So in England, it's in old prayer books and charms. So often these are crypts, doorways, cloisters, spots associated with passage or protection. But I would think more of what Bogues said there, that it's probably part of a secret of a code. Because if it's the spots where they can find it is in crypts, doorways, and cloisters, these are spots that I would imagine most people don't go. Who goes to? Nobody really goes to a crypt unless you're going to go visit the grave of a loved one. So what better place to hide something than a place that nobody wants to go?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. If it's protective magic, I need me some of that protective magic. And put me a Sator square at home if it's protective magic. I always found protective magic to be pretty interesting, the different stories, different cultures come up with. In Louisiana, where I'm from, a lot of the people in South Louisiana are into hoodoo. Most people think they're into voodoo, but
Well, hoodoo's the good voodoo, right?
hoodoo is the good voodoo. Yeah, the voodoo is the one they put on TV, but you'll be hard pressed to find anyone in Louisiana unless they're trying to sell stuff to tourists who is actually into voodoo. But I've seen people who would do the brick dust thing, where they would take brick dust and they'd put it at their doorways or make a circular radius around their house, and believed that would keep people with ill intentions towards you out. And I've always been fascinated with just how much those rituals like that, when they're widespread, when everybody in a community knows the rules of how that stuff works, it almost takes on a psychological effect. So if you know all that information about the brick dust and that sort of thing, and you're approaching someone's house and you do have ill intentions, maybe psychologically it messes with your subconscious, and you start giving away with little cues.
That's like compliance through paranoia.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you know you're being watched, you're less likely to do the nefarious thing.
Exactly, yeah. So, and I've always thought that stuff like that has to work a little bit like that you'll notice.
What do you got to say, Bogues?
Well, there's like a few in Italy, right? There's like a few of those things that you were talking about that they found in churches. Mm-hmm. So what I'm thinking in my head right now is maybe they put them a certain way in the churches, and then if you connect them all together and where the lines like cross, there's like a hidden passage could be like underneath where if you connect them all.
You think it's like X marks the spot? Mm-hmm. Okay. That the Sator square might be marking of pointing which direction, or maybe behind this block is something interesting.
Could be, yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe there is more than one Sator square in a building. I didn't really look that up.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like it with some of the churches where they have it carved into the masonry and into the woodwork. I could easily, if you have more than one, then it could easily be pointing the way.
Reminds me of like a video game side quest. Like you see the Sator square, there's a puzzle nearby that you've got to solve.
Yeah. Well, and we know just even if it was something as simple as like the Knights Templar meeting in a way that like the Freemasons do today, where where Freemasons meet is called a temple. But in the medieval times, I'm sure if you were meeting in any kind of temple that wasn't the church, it would have been frowned upon. They would have think you're a witch or practicing magic or something like that. So even for getting together in their like Freemason temples or Knights Templar temples, if it's not traditional Christianity, I would imagine that would have needed to be very underground with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, and kind of justifiably so. Like it's hard for, like, even though I don't think the church should have had a monopoly on things, but if I imagine myself living in the Middle Ages and somebody wants to come to me and they're like, yeah, we've got this room with this checkerboard floor and we're going to dress up in robes and simulate human sacrifice, I would be like, you guys sound a bit weird, It's like, where'd you get into all of this?
Did the church sanction this?
Yeah. So, and what do we have?
Oh, I had another. Why are we always out of glitter?
And,
It's a weird conspiracy, supposedly, that
And there's only like what, one or two glitter manufacturers in the world, right?
And they refuse to divulge their main customer.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's the U.S. military.
Well, that is one of the many interpretations.
Let's see, a few major glitter manufacturers, primarily in New Jersey, including Meadowbrook Inventions and Glitter X. Glitter X is the one I've heard of. They're the main big one, right?
So supposedly it's not very good for the environment anyways.
Horrible,
right? Mm-hmm. And when people have tried to get more glitter, or there was a shortage on glitter, they're like, okay, well, where's all the glitter going? Clearly you guys make enough glitter. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, our main customer just requested that we not divulge the origin of this shipment. So I guess some people say it's the government because some of them claim that they use it for radar chaff or cloaking capabilities or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard that before, that they, sometimes what we see is the contrails from the planes, that the military would maybe drop tiny particles of glitter in the sky to make it so if our enemies are looking on radar to try to figure out where our aircraft are, they won't be able to find them. They'll see stuff everywhere because the radar is going to pick up the glitter. But because of what glitter has in it, it's not really good to rain down on the population, especially when you put it in particles so small that we can breathe in, or it goes in our food and water.
What's it made of? Like PVC and some other toxic chemical?
Let's see. Glitter is polyethylene terephthalate. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Polyethylene terephthalate and PET.
I have some playing cards made of PET.
Yeah, and
a reflective material like aluminum and a protective layer. So a thin film of plastic, often polyester, which is the PET, reflective coating, and aluminum layer is applied to so it's aluminum that they're raining down from the sky to give us all Alzheimer's. Then colored pigments and added to create different colors. Then they cut it, of course. I could, the angle of the military dropping it, I could totally see. And if it's not the military, which is that silent customer, then I have even more questions. Who in the world would be ordering so much glitter and wouldn't want us to know about it?
Unicorns.
Unicorns?
they want all the glitter so they can eat the glitter.
They need it all.
Their poop is full of glitter.
Yeah, forgot about that. They very well could need it.
What do you think, Bogues? Is that funny?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they want all
Unicorn
the glitter.
poop?
What? Who else do you think could be using glitter? What else are they putting it in?
Oh, also on the unicorn thing, I don't think they'll be making enough money to buy that much glitter off of kiddie parties, off of little kid parties.
Unicorns don't have a lot of money.
So, see, the personal supply, the low glitter shortage. How often have there been glitter shortages, though? I guess anytime there is one, people are just like, why is there a shortage?
Yeah, it's not that big a deal, but I guess it was a biggest shortage that started in 2018 that it drew enough attention that it made it into the news or the internet. And some other uses, what looks like boat paint, cosmetics, and toiletries, and supposedly it's supposed to be phased out by 2030 out of cosmetics and toiletries because that is something that's washed off and then basically consumed and goes back into the environment. Boat paint, I imagine it'd probably stay because it's not something that is generally just processed and then gone.
Right.
Or flushed down the toilet, per se.
Now, we forbid it in our vacation rentals.
Oh yeah, it is the herpes of crafting materials.
It's hard, yeah. It gets everywhere, and it's hard to get out.
It never comes out.
I can't believe they put it in our products like toothpaste, though. That's so terrible. It's like, here, have a little aluminum while you, have a little dementia while you're brushing your teeth.
They've connected brain problems and
to aluminum,
like Alzheimer's, like high aluminum content. I won't use any sort of deodorant or any antiperspirant
that has aluminum. Same.
Like I won't even use antiperspirant, period. So I just use deodorant because most of those don't have aluminum in it.
Yeah. That's crazy how they
One of the most absorbent parts of your
body.
epidermis is your armpit.
Here's some poison.
Yeah.
Rub that right on. It'll smell real good. You'll smell real good. You know, you won't remember anything in
It'll
30
be okay.
years.
Yeah, it'll be okay. You won't remember.
but you'll smell real good. Oh man, yeah. The glitter one has been huge for a while, and I personally I think it's what our government is dropping as radar shaft. I wonder what ChatGPT could come up with other angles for who could be the biggest glitter buyer.
Let's see what DeepSeek says too.
And you know the only problem I would have with the chaff of them dropping it from the planes, like I would imagine you're dropping it in such tiny pieces that we can't tell it's glitter. But like even if you cut it up into tiny pieces, shouldn't there be times where people look up and just like maybe see a little sparkle in the air if it was glitter that they're dropping from the
And
planes
water vapor is pretty iridescent.
to make it so it wouldn't shine?
So maybe it would very much resemble water vapor anyways. But it's actually got that physical.
Because water vapor does have a shine to it,
Yeah.
a little shimmer, yeah.
Why would they cut it into smaller pieces though?
So it's probably so it stays airborne for longer.
Yeah, and covers more area, and
If
all
it's
the
small
wind will stay
enough,
up there.
it'll stay in the wind for longer, which is probably even worse for our lungs if that's what's actually happening. So the disclosed ones I see is cosmetics, but go ahead.
I mean, with cosmetics, it's kind of obvious when they put it in there, right? Because you
Yeah.
can see it when someone's wearing makeup or something with glitter. So here's what people speculate when they exclude the government and military uses of chaff for tiny metallized strips dropped from planes to confuse radar. The food industry, glitter sometimes used in processed foods to give shine, sprinkles, coating, candy frosting. A major brand coats products in microplastic glitter, but markets it as pearlized or mica. That would be
That's not good for you.
right. Well, it's going for the angles of what it could be, and I was like, that would be a reason to not to want to keep your purchase private. You know, just don't tell anybody. Then the cosmetics industry, glitter's common in makeup. However, the secret buyer might be a single mega brand that buys a huge proportion and doesn't want microplastics backlash. Boss?
It says up here, car paint, auto industries. They use it for just to make your thing shinier.
Yeah,
I guess.
High-end cars.
Metallic or pearlescent flake, they call it.
Like Rolls Royce?
Well, you like those car shows, and they do some pretty cool paint jobs on those. They put that flake in there. That's technically the same thing as
like
the
the
glitter.
paint on a hot rod.
Yeah,
That would make sense if they didn't want their customers, asking for a lower price. And if you knew that they just poured a little glitter in your paint and wanted to charge you thousands of dollars more, I'm sure people would balk at that. They would go, no thanks. I could do that myself. Say banknotes. So central banks are the biggest buyer, but don't want to be associated with glitter, putting it in the currency.
For anti-counterfeiting measures, because they put the little strip inside of it now, and then they've got special paint that they use that's iridescent. Maybe they work it into the rest of the ink as well. So if you look at it under a microscope, you can see it. You can see it.
Now that one would make sense to me, and the reason for keeping it secret is obvious because you don't want people to know how you're making the money. That way you can catch the counterfeiters. You can't tell them how you make everything.
Let's not advertise that,
right? Yeah, you can't tell them everything for it. And then let's see the plastics industry. So glitter or glitter-like particles used in mass plastic production for a sheen effect for like flooring, vinyl, laminate countertops. I just don't see that as being significant enough to hide it. Like that seems like who would have a problem with that?
Yeah, I think the two key suspects would be the military or the food industry, because the food industry is big enough that it would be a huge, large purchase, right?
Yeah.
And the military is big enough to possibly do the same, but we would never know what they're actually using it for if it's part of the Department of Defense formerly, or Department of War now.
And then the more fringe angles of what it could be used for, this one that feels like it's not so fringe, it's pretty commonplace thought. In chemtrails, sprayed from planes for climate engineering, Now, here's a crazy one. Added to vaccines or pharmaceuticals as a tracking agent.
What?
Glitter in your blood.
It would be a tracking agent. It would be able to track.
Why?
And then
Because
it's in currency or ID cards for mass surveillance. Well, because if you got little pieces of metal in you.
Put a
So-
magnet up to you.
Yeah, or just run somebody through one of those airport scanners and,
vaccinated,
about-
unvaccinated.
yeah.
What about
my
like
gosh.
those X-ray machines? Aren't those like big magnets?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, X-ray machines use huge magnets, like
And the MRIs.
MRIs do. Yeah.
Let's hope it's not in pharmaceuticals as a tracking agent. But that would make sense. That would be a good way to get someone to take something that has something extra in it, and then you can track them. And maybe you can track them over large spaces with that. Then if you exclude government and military, the top realistics are automotive paint, plastics, banknote security. I can see automotive paint hiding it because they need to earn the extra money. They need to be able to upcharge for their fancy paint,
Yeah.
And then I could see the banks doing it. That would make sense.
And just go buy the high gloss at Home
Right.
Depot and add a little glitter.
Yeah.
I guess you could, but
Hey, that would be if they had
put
figured
it
out
in
that
a
way to
coffee
save
grinder
money,
first and
then mix it in.
mix it in.
Yeah, bring out the car, be like, "This is our special edition paint, only from Chevy."
Be a fun little experiment.
Top end paint. Shipped it from Europe.
Yeah, exactly. It's a high end quality, custom made paint. And then let's see,
Bogues, what do you know about Bigfoot?
Bigfoot, the Yeti, Sasquatch.
Bogues the Yogs.
A large, hairy, human-like creature to be believed by some people to exist in the northern hemisphere of
Right.
the United States. So I think Bigfoot could exist, but the reason, my dad showed me this, like he saw this on, well, not saw it, he read something and said he could like teleport through like different dimensions. So
Yeah.
why he gets away so fast.
An interdimensional Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting angle.
Yeah.
And some of the research we did seem to point out that a lot of Bigfoot sightings happen at places that seem to just be tied to paranormal activity. So it's not just that Bigfoot sightings happens there, that they see UFOs there, they see orbs there, they see a lot of just paranormal activity. And I think it's only reasonable to assume that all the paranormal activity happening in these areas could very well be related.
Yeah, and there's been sightings up to 400 years.
Yeah.
So
We're probably going back further than that if we look at the things that are described as just like Bigfoot,
yeah.
but have different names. So what do you think causes the interactions? What do you think leads to someone being able to see or perceive Bigfoot? Is it their own mind? Is it right? They're at the right place at the right time. Or is it their consciousness being open enough to the possibility of seeing it?
Well, I think it could be the third one. Their mind could be open enough. Mm-hmm. Or it could be just like he pops in for a little bit and you're at the right place.
At the right time.
Yeah. And you could set up like trail cams, like those trail cams. So you set them up and usually you use those to spot them or something. But
People have trouble getting them that way, though. I think.
Yeah.
I think there have been a few, like all the sightings that are on video. The only trouble with those is it's always somewhat questionable. Like, isn't there like the famous video from like the 70s of somebody capturing a Bigfoot? I don't know if that one was ever debunked. Is it from the 70s?
Actually capturing one?
On video?
No, on video. There's plenty of video.
Yeah, not capturing. I meant capturing on film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the interdimensional theory
1967.
carries because we've never found any remains of a Bigfoot.
Right.
Like, if they're here and they're creatures, and even if they were like a lost species, you would find remains eventually.
Well, I don't know.
Or a large primate.
well,
I don't know that you would, because like most remains go right back into the earth. Like the things that we find as fossils, You have to decay under rare conditions. You have to pretty much like fall. Go ahead, Box.
Well, we've explored more space than the ocean. So, like, we've explored 3% of the ocean and 15% of space. So, you gotta think there could be fossils under the ocean. There could have been there since, like, the water level rises. But
And if they're somewhat as intelligent as
Some of the
us,
fossils could have been pushed underground after the big shift of landmass.
yeah. Or and if they're close to intelligent as us, or similar to our intelligence, and they bury their dead, or they take care of their dead in some other, there's many ways humans get rid of the dead. Some cultures bury them, some cultures burn them, some cultures put them out to sea. Vikings used to put them out to sea and set them on fire. So if they are similar to human intelligence in the sense of caring for their dead, then that could be why we never find any of their remains, because they are intentionally getting rid of the remains. Like all the people we put 6 feet down, none of those people were ever going to become fossils. They're all going to go back to the earth.
Eventually you'd find bones, wouldn't you?
well,
It will, if you catch them before the bones rot,
yeah. And if you like put them in a really sealed box,
then yeah.
it would say there's an apple in a really sealed box, and it would turn to ash, and all the atoms could bounce around, and it could turn back into the form it was.
If it wasn't allowed, nothing was allowed to escape. Yeah, then all the particles would still be in there. But we put people in the ground in a wooden box. The wood will rot, and then they will rot, and they'll be the conditions that we find most fossils under. They either had to be completely submerged in a bog or a swamp.
In a matrix of
Yeah, and you've got to be
Petroleum
completely
or something.
submerged rather fast. Like, they don't really depict it that much, but if you think about it, if something were to just die on the ground, it's going to have to be completely buried in order for it to become a fossil, and rather fast. Otherwise, things are going to eat it. Microscopic organisms are going to eat it, and it's going to rot and go back to the earth. So it's kind of surprising for how many fossils we have. To me, it tells the story that there must have been some dramatic event that happened in Earth's past to bury all these things rapidly to make it so they wouldn't rot and their bones wouldn't remain.
brings us back to the mud flood, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's think about that and talk about our sponsors real quick.
Yeah. My favorite sponsor is
Good Feels.
Good Feels, the cannabis infused and CBD infused seltzers. So offering a refreshing, high quality drink with natural ingredients, that you can take to your social gatherings or just have at home to relax after a long day. Good Feels drinks are meticulously formulated to offer a refreshing and enjoyable taste, perfect for, seeking a balanced lifestyle with alternative relaxation methods. You can hang around those friends who are drinking and have you a can and fit in, and nobody's going to question if you got a drink because you've got your Good Feels and you feel good.
They've also got the extract so you can add it to any beverage that you want. If you're wanting to go low-key, super low-key, we get, what are we doing, 20% off on that one, and we get 15% commission.
Oh, no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah, you're right. 20% off of that
20% off on Good Feels. Also, we have Shimmerwood Beverages at shimmerwood.com. It's a full-spectrum CBD with natural fruit shrubs, delivering a refreshing, stress-relieving drink that erases tension and promotes relaxation. So it's all the same thing except the THC. So you're not getting high, you're just getting the relaxation. That one's a little better discount. You get 30% off. We also get the 15% commission if you use our code DTL2025. What else do we have? I think we have Prep Starts Now.
Yeah, at any moment, the world could be turned upside down. We live in a world of just hectic news, and we all know that things are pretty crazy, and so that's why we've got our listeners a 15% discount with Prep Starts Now. Whether you are preparing for the worst with World War III and the eventual Armageddon that is promised, or you're just trying to be prepared for your next camping trip, Prep Starts Now has the products for you. So their prep shop features a selection of essential emergency products and supplies, They've got a preparedness academy, easy to follow guides and training on disaster response and first aid. And like I said, their products are perfect for keeping your family prepared. Emergencies can strike at any time, from power outages to natural disasters, and so it's crucial for your family to be prepared in advance. So Prep Starts Now offers our listeners a 15% discount on any product. And your purchases there do support our podcast, so we earn a 15% commission on any purchase there. So check out Prep Starts Now, curated emergency preparedness products, survival gear, first aid kits, water filtration, power backups, emergency tools, you name it. Prep Starts Now has what you need to keep your family prepared for what comes next.
Our promo code works for all 3 products, DTL 2025. You can find it on our website.
And on your screen.
Click
on the banner that you see now. So, I kind of want to jump back to the whole, if we would have found their remains, there are several creatures, several animals that, seem to go against that sort of thinking, that, we did not know they existed, or we thought they were dead, and then we found them. So, and as an example of a land creature, there's a forest antelope called the Saola from Laos, nicknamed the Asian unicorn. So it was completely unknown to science until local villagers guided researchers there in 1992. And that's a land animal. Under the sea, it makes it a little bit more easy to understand why we could have missed something, and there's plenty of stories like that too. There's a fish thought to be extinct for 66 million years until a fisherman caught one off the coast of South Africa in 1938. So, and these are creatures that don't match human intelligence. So if we're dealing with something that matches our intelligence, and maybe they
doesn't want to be found.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Maybe they're being elusive intentionally. Maybe avoiding humanity is key to their survival. If they're able to live and have communities, I would imagine they would also care for their dead in a way that makes sure we never find and desecrate the bodies.
Yeah.
But I really like the angle of them being interdimensional.
So do I.
And, it seems to fit, given that there's all this other weird stuff that happens in these spots. So
it's not only Bigfoot, it's also the Yeti. Yeah. Right? I mean, it potentially could be just a cousin of the Bigfoot.
I think they're all the same thing.
Or nearly all the same thing. I have a list of different names from different cultures. So British Columbia, it's called the Sasquatch. Wild man or hairy man is how it translates. Or the Hoopa Valley tribe in California is Oma, a wise spiritual protector of the land. The Cherokee call it Sul Kalu, Lord of the Game, a powerful hairy figure. Lakota Sioux is Chiyetanka, a great elder brother who watches over the land. The Iroquois is Ginoshqua Altnate Yarhe, which is stone giant, an aggressive rock-skinned giant. Florida swamps call it the skunk ape, named for its foul odor, smaller than Sasquatch. So I think, that maybe there's different variations or species or families or whatnot. In Arkansas, Fook monster, a southern Sasquatch variant. Algonquin, the Great Lakes area, is Witiko or Wendigo, a giant, often malevolent, cannibalistic spirit associated with winter and greed, sometimes conflated with Bigfoot-like descriptions.
And those are all just
Bigfoot
names from the Americas. You can go more. If you go over to the other side of the world, you got the Yeti, which is pretty much the same thing. In the Himalayas in Nepal, the Yeti is pretty much like a cold, or it's a cold Sasquatch.
Yeah, I had a list of the Asian names too, but
the Yiran in China, the Yowie in Australia, Orang Pendek in Indonesia. Let's see, that one's shorter though. Short, 3 to 5 foot, hairy humanoid living in jungle highlands.
I mean, it would make sense that they adapted to their environment.
That there would be different sizes.
Different sizes and different variations.
Yeah.
Different sizes, different types. There could be one that's like scaly, could live under the water.
Oh, yeah, quite possibly. I think most of the ones we're talking about are mountainous.
Yeah, they seem to be in areas where there is not a lot of people. So let's see, modern pulp culture explosion. 1924, the Ape Canyon incident. Miners near Mount St. Helens, Washington claimed they were attacked by ape-like creatures. And then there was one other angle that I have to throw in that I thought about when reading this is that if we're dealing with something that is more technological, there are famous reports that when our government was testing advanced aircraft. So during, just take it right from here. During World War II, the Bell aircraft was was developing the P-59 Aerocomet, the U.S. first jet fighter prototype. And to keep the project secret, they used various deception techniques, placing a fake propeller on the nose when taxiing so it looked like a conventional plane, and even going so far as telling the pilot to put on a gorilla mask if he got close to any other planes. That way, if the pilots or the passengers on another plane saw him, they would just say, I saw a gorilla flying a UFO, and
That's
nobody
hilarious.
would believe them.
That's hilarious.
And so I've thought, hey, if our government's doing something secret out in remote places, maybe you have people dress up like Sasquatch, because who would ever believe that? And then plus, you'll never think that something top secret government's going on. You're going to think there's Sasquatch,
Right.
out here. And I want to go back. There was another cool angle though. If we explore the interdimensional aspect, do you think these are beings who are living in a reality that's just a few degrees off from ours? And maybe, you get to these certain
They accidentally
spots and
stumble into it.
yeah, maybe the realities bleed together at certain spots or something.
Quite possibly. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of movies that depict that there's interdimensional portals within caves
Yeah.
because it's an enclosed space and it's easier to conceal and
Why would they want to come here if they're coming from another dimension? What are they getting out of coming here?
I don't know. Maybe they've got a special flower that they like to eat here.
Maybe.
The movie, he was a vegetarian, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Herman, or was it? What was that movie called?
I don't know. I think it was called Bigfoot. I actually think it was called Bigfoot.
So indigenous people often describe these beings as keepers of sacred places rather than just mere animals. So, if it's some sort of like forest spirit there, the picture you're just showing, Bogues, that almost looks like a forest spirit. It's got antlers. What's that a picture of? The Wendigo.
Searched up different types of Bigfoot, and the Native Americans called it a Wendigo, and a legend about a spirit that, what's that word?
Legend about a spirit that manifests itself in the form of large animals, often as a Sasquatch.
Now, it seems like the Wendigo has a more, at least from what I'm seeing in my quick search, looks like they have a more negative
Connotation?
associate. Yeah. Looks so the core characteristics, the Wendigo is often described as an evil, man-eating spirit associated with insatiable hunger and greed. So legends say a human could become a Wendigo by resorting to cannibalism in times of famine or by being possessed by the Wendigo spirit.
And the Bigfoot has human types, like it has hands.
Oh, yeah, it's humanoid.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's human.
Well, and some of the speculation about Bigfoot is that it could be an offshoot of one of the human ancestors, like Neanderthals.
Yeah.
And if they've been around that long, maybe they are just hiding out. It does seem unlikely to me that any group of hominids could hide out just physically without having some other way of hiding from us.
Well, they're more suited for the environment. We're a bunch of hairless apes that require clothing for most climates, hot or cold.
Yeah.
It's more likely that we're the visitors and they're the
Natives.
So some of the
Bogue.
cultural names for the Yeti, most common name from the Tibetan, often translated as rocky bear or man bear, or Migoi or Migo is a Tibetan Bhutanese meaning, a wild man or strong man. In Bhutanese folklore, the Migoi is attributed to supernatural powers like invisibility. Kangchenjunga demon, a specific Yeti-like said to haunt the slopes of the Kanchenjunga the world's third highest mountain. Almas or Almasti is Mongolian or Central Asia. A wild man reported in Caucasus and Mongolia, often considered more primitive and human-like than the Yeti. And then it goes back into some of the North American stuff. Skookum or Chinook jargon, a term meaning powerful or monster. And then back into the Wendigo again. Important distinction. While sometimes conflated with Bigfoot, the Wendigo is malevolent. Oh yeah, South America, Mapinguari is like the Amazon basin. Legendary creature from Tupi-Guarani folklore, is often described as a giant hairy ape being with a foul odor and a single cyclopean eye.
Ooh, that's a different angle. A single eye.
Some scientists theorize the legend may be based on folk memories of the giant ground sloth.
But they had more than one eye, didn't they?
The ground sloth? Yeah, absolutely. There hasn't been a surviving species that I know of that has been cycloptic.
Yeah.
They're all mutants and don't live for very long if they do.
That seems like their way of trying to dismiss it, because those same scientists, I'm sure, would tell us that modern humans were not around when I guess the giant ground sloth we were, because the giant ground sloth was around at the time of the mammoth.
Yeah.
At the end of the last ice age.
Back when the oxygen content of the universe was much higher. Mm-hmm. Russia, Almasti. Similar to the Mongolian Almas, it is a wild man said to inhabit the mountainous regions between the Black and Caspian Seas. It was one of the most studied hominid cryptids by Soviet scientists. And then, the abominable snowman, of course. A sensationalized name given to the Yeti by the Western world. It was a mistranslation and exaggeration by journalists in the early 20th century, which helped create pop culture image we know today.
So some things to kind of support our angle of thinking that whatever this being is probably interdimensional. So witnesses report that Bigfoot footprints tend to suddenly stop mid-trail, suggesting that they just disappeared rather than walking away, that it just poof and was gone. And then there's a lot of UFO correlations. In 1973, the Bigfoot UFO wave in Pennsylvania saw simultaneous sightings of hairy beings and strange lights. And some Bigfoot researchers like Ron Moorhead of the Sierra Sounds fame report glowing spheres near sightings. So maybe we're dealing with some beings more advanced than us, and they look hairy, so we think they're wild men,
Right.
And here's a crazy angle, and I thought about this just a moment ago. We've talked about in previous episodes the Sumerian creation story, that the Anunnaki came down and created us in like a lab, mixing their DNA with some of the hominids here. So every time I've always heard that story, when I think of these other beings coming down and creating us, mixing with the hominids here, I think of like chimpanzees and the apes we know of. What if humans were created by this Anunnaki, what if the hominid they created us from is whatever Bigfoot is?
Oh.
And so if you were going to create a new species
Already
to
a
be your
smarter
worker
creature.
race, then and then plus if you're going to make a species to be your work, like with with evolution, there's always the missing link problem of tying us to the same thing as whatever chimpanzees evolved from. But maybe that's the missing link area. If you come down and you're making this race or this species that you intend to work for you, well, whatever you made them from, you've got to pretty much drive them into extinction, or
Right.
the two might find common cause.
I like that. That's very interesting. I looked up the Mapinguari, which is the cycloptic version. And so some of the physical description is really interesting. Gigantic size and hairy body. It's almost described as a massive bipedal. Walks on two legs, creature covered in thick, matted, or red or black fur. Some accounts say that it's as tall as 7 feet. Others claim it's much larger. The single eye, the distinctive feature, is single large eye in the middle of its forehead, reminiscent of a cyclops from Greek mythology. Backwards feet. Perhaps its most famous trait is that his feet are turned backwards. This is believed to confuse hunters and trackers who try to follow their prints. The fetid smell, which is the mapingary, is almost universally said to emit an unbearable putrid odor that can be detected from miles away. The smell is said to be so powerful it can make a person dizzy or nauseous. The unbreakable hide, its skin is said to be incredibly thick and tough, impervious to bullets, arrows, and spears. The only vulnerable spot is said to be its navel. A mouth on its stomach. In many versions of the legend, the mapingary has a second gaping mouth on its abdomen. It is said to use this mouth to emit its horrifying roar and to suck in and devour humans. What do you got, Bogues?
Well, you know how like the tracks stop when Bigfoot, and when you're reading, it says the feet were backwards. Maybe that's why the tracks stop.
Because they're actually
Walking the
other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
You know, and another angle I thought as you were saying that is, this one's kind of a wild angle. If it's people in a suit, like at the end of World War II, the Nazis were working on their Die Glocke, the big bell-shaped craft,
Right.
looks like a UFO. And all the speculation with that was that if they were able to get this anti-gravity device to work, it would also be a time machine, that it would work with time dilation. So if our government or other governments have figured out some sort of way to go back in time, you would want to do it in a way that you wouldn't be spotted. What if they have them put on an armored suit, Because I'm thinking, how could it be impervious to bullets except for at the belly button? But if a suit's coming together, that's where you separate it. Right there, the
Right.
center.
So like in Fallout with those like big suits,
Yeah.
with like all the armor, and it's like all bulletproof. So maybe they did that and they got it from Fallout.
Yeah, exactly. The idea, yeah, exactly. You make a big suit, but you want to trick the people who might see you, so you make it look like a giant gorilla, a giant ape, and then no one's going to know that they're dealing with a technological operation.
They would think it's a natural phenomenon that they're trying to fight instead of.
And if you've got these craft that can just take you away, that also would that could explain why the tracks stop. Or if you're getting out of a suit, that would explain why tracks would stop.
Oh, right.
Let's see. And then another angle I saw when reading about this is that, and this would still make them somewhat interdimensional, but a much different angle, is the idea that they could be a thought form,
That they're like collective consciousness.
collective consciousness bringing them into being. Yes, that. So I'll go back to this, and seeing that, it made me think about a book that I really like. It's a book and show called American Gods. I think I've talked to you about before. And the core premise in American Gods is that the gods are real, like actually real, and able to interact with our world, but they're only real because people believe in them.
Yeah, they
And
get
so
their
the-
power from our faith.
From people's belief. And so this premise would pretty much say that, like, hey, because this archetype exists, where there's more people that believe it, you see more of it. And that it's the reason people who have the experiences running into them describe it as being like a dreamlike state is because the being they're interacting with is partially in the material world and partially a creation of consciousness. That would be an I hope we don't really have the power to make things exist just from thinking about them, because that would mean there's going to be a lot of really bad beings that exist in the world just because people have been trained to believe in them.
Yeah. What do you got to add, Bogues?
Nothing really. Nothing really right now. I mean, the military could know that this creature is real, and it usually happens around where you see UFO sightings, orbs, and maybe they've captured one and they're studying it, but they don't tell anyone.
I always go to the sort of have you seen Stranger Things, Bogues?
I've watched like a few episodes.
Well, the Stranger Things angle of these spots where Bigfoot's seen are the same regions that have UFO cryptids, ghostly apparitions. They all have all these reports around there. So what if these spots are portals, and we're getting things from multiple dimensions coming out.
It's an international station
Yeah.
of dimensional portals.
Yeah, we just got to find the Men in Black office out there. See if we can get us a passport. Feel like, is there any safe dimensions we can go to and come back? Boy, wouldn't that be fun?
Well, yeah. So maybe all these like creatures that could come from different dimensions all know each other, and then they all stay in this group of spots.
Where they know that other interdimensional beings are.
Well, yeah,
Kind
they
of like Men in Black,
Get in and out.
Yeah, no, Men in Black, where they dress up like humans, but the aliens hang out with each other. So here's another cool part. I didn't notice this before. The hotspots where these Bigfoot sightings happen also seem to have electronic malfunctions. Compasses spin, batteries drain, GPS glitches. And to me, in my mind, that says portal or interdimensional even more, because why would it mess with a compass? There's got to be some source of magnetism nearby there that's throwing the compass haywire.
Yeah.
And magnetism goes hand in hand with energy. That means you got a lot of energy in that area.
So I have something to like add on to like this UFO thing.
Okay.
So there's like me, my dad, and my brother were in the car. We're driving and we're like at a far distance, and we see like all these little lights. And you remember we're driving, and we thought it was like a UFO.
I jokingly said it was a giant spaceship that was about to land.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all like weirded out, but like, and we got closer, it was like a little village. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I looked back, I couldn't see anything. Like I couldn't see.
Like
no
after you
lights.
passed it,
After
and
we
looked back,
passed
it was
you
gone.
Couldn't really see anything. So it was pretty eerie. I think it was just the angle that we were looking at it. It was Red Rocks and Morrison area there as you're driving down C470.
Mm-hmm.
But you would think you'd see some sort of lights beyond that. So it was very eerie and definitely threw me off for
It's
a
like
minute
a
or so.
turn. It's like the whole town turned their lights off all at
All
once.
at once, yeah.
And you're like, well, that is weird. I was just joking that it'd be in an alien ship, and now
Right.
you're like, maybe it was. Maybe it was an alien ship camouflage. So yeah, I mean, I could easily see this being something otherworldly. But as we go week by week, I am increasingly a believer that if there are things coming here from other places, that they're not flying here from some far off distant planet, that they are dimensional travelers. That seems more likely to me. And like some of these hotspots where the sightings are, Chestnut Ridge, that's a Bigfoot and UFO sighting hotspot, Skinwalker Ranch, Mount Shasta, the Himalayas,
And the skinwalkers to believe that they turn into humans,
Yeah.
into a human form, and then once they see their prey, they turn back into their normal form.
And Bigfoot could be the same thing as whatever a skinwalker is, because shapeshifter, if there's something out there that could shapeshift, maybe,
Skinwalker's Native American, right?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yep.
Isn't that what your
What?
mom's side of the family
Yeah.
believes?
So, and like maybe Bigfoot is a skinwalker in its true form,
Oh, yeah.
If it has the ability to just morph into something, it's got to have a true form.
Yeah. And it could be like very much bigger. Like
Yeah.
they said they saw something 7 feet, but it could be bigger.
Yeah, it could be a lot bigger than that. Yeah. Well, and then, it very well just could be a physical creature that's hiding out in those caves. As I think we talked about in a previous episode, how most of the people who go missing in America, and I think worldwide, go missing near the cave systems.
So there could be like
Some-
a portal in the caves.
Or if not even a portal, they just drag you down. If they, because people don't really go into those caves too much. It's rare.
Because they think there's bears in there.
And it gets super dark and it's dangerous. A lot of the caves can be hot. Like if you don't know when you're walking in a cave, you could,
Fall.
the ground underneath you could be hollow and you step on the wrong spot and you fall and God knows how far you'll fall.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's talk about some predictions.
yeah, let's
I
look
don't
back
think
at that.
we have anything, but
We're going to have to get some new predictions on here soon.
Bogues is interested in The Simpsons.
The Simpsons.
Tell us about the Simpsons prediction you know about.
So there's two.
Okay.
So where there's this one where they had Trump on an escalator waving in a mall, and in real life that actually happened, like in the exact same form. If you put them side by side, the video of Trump on the escalator and in the Simpsons world, it's like the exact same thing. So they predicted that he was on the escalator. And then there was this other one where they were walking in the Simpsons. They were walking around in VRs, and like they're like walking around. And then in real life, you can see people walking around with like those Apple Vision Pros. Yeah, so like they predicted that too.
So do you think the Simpsons are visionaries where they're able to predict this stuff, or like, or maybe have some view into the future, or is it being staged? That it's not that they are predicting the future, is that this is what they are planning, and so they put it in the episodes, and then they bring it into reality.
Maybe that
Because
could.
if you could do that, you would make people think that you were predicting the future. If you had a big enough network to pull it off.
Or the guy that created The Simpsons is working with somebody that can predict the future.
Yeah.
It's like those people that can see ghosts, apparently.
They did predict his original run going up the elevator and everything. They also, it's. I just wish I knew which one of the Simpsons predictions is going to come true next. So my least favorite one is the one where the episode where all the leaders remove their mask and turns out they're all aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And that
all the Halloween episodes.
yeah, well that's one of the episodes that I feel like, because the Simpsons have been right about so much. I'm just like, I have a bad feeling that they're right, that our leaders might not all be human.
Yeah.
That some of them are in disguise.
It's like that movie that you showed us, Fight Club, Dad. You showed us Fight Club, and you notice more and more things, and you're like, what?
Oh yeah. Every time I watch the movie Fight Club, I noticed some new detail that they put into the movie that you wouldn't notice until you've seen it 10, 15 times. But so like there's a chunk missing of his eyebrow, and Tyler Durden's eyebrow, and you don't really notice why it's gone, but it's because he's holding a cigarette in his hand while he's drinking his pint of beer, and the cigarette burns his eyebrow right there.
And they filmed over. They just kept filming.
Well, I think it was intentional in the movie script to add all these little weird details, and like the cigarettes that Tyler Durden smokes. They're he's all about this basic lifestyle. And his cigarettes are basic cigarettes, the brand. Like the main character, Edward Norton, you never really find out what his actual name was. Maybe Jack, but you never know what his actual name was. It was only Tyler Durden was his alter ego.
I haven't seen that movie in so long. It makes me want. I'm going to have to rewatch that.
It's a good movie. I watched it every day in college, and me and my friends, we would notice something new every time we watched it. We're like, whoa, dude.
Like they throw in all the little Easter eggs.
Yeah, there's so many Easter eggs. Any other predictions, Kyle?
I don't. Looking at the ones that we had, I've scrolled a little too far. Looking at the ones that we had on the list, I think we've
coming up yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. 10 days from now, we have a prediction for another mass extinction warning from UN scientists.
That happens every year.
That does happen every year. One way or the other, they're going to tell us that the world will be over in 10 years.
Wasn't there hundreds of tons of ice that was regained in Antarctica just recently?
Yeah, well,
which is like the opposite of climate change?
Well, it's interesting. So, and that could be a good topic for another episode. Antarctica is losing a lot of ice, but it's also growing ice in other spots. So I've seen some things that seem to speculate that there could be, going back to the accusation that the Nazis escaped and some faction of them survived down there and a breakaway civilization under the ice. But yeah, you have areas of ice where it's shedding lots of it melting, is shedding large amounts of ice, but other spots seemingly adding lots and lots of ice. So it's keeping itself at equilibrium.
Huh.
Well, although it's losing ice, it's growing ice in other spots.
What does that do to the climate change theorists?
I don't know. I suppose, I mean, if it starts losing more than it's gaining, then yes, sea levels will rise. But I don't know. The climate change debate is so wild because it's people get lost in it. I mean, there's no question that the climate change, nothing stays the same. Go ahead, Bogues.
Well, they did just find woolly mammoth DNA when the ice melted, and so
They're bringing them back too, or
yeah,
or a
they're bringing-
hybrid at
yeah.
least.
And they found a dodo bird head too. That just dodo bird head that apparently went extinct about.
Yeah, it went extinct a long time ago because it was supposedly one of the stupidest birds.
Yeah, we killed them all though. Humans killed them all. They were
Oh.
easy to hunt, real easy to hunt because they were so stupid. But
Yeah.
we could bring and I'm sure they'll try to bring them back too.
What do you know about pyramids, Bogues?
Pyramids,
We always have to talk about a pyramid, even briefly.
the pyramid scheme.
No, not pyramid schemes, but actual pyramids.
Pyramid.
We talk about how we think that the pyramids are there to tap into the natural energy source that is Earth.
Have you seen?
And also potentially some of those pyramids, or if not all of them, are also resonance dampeners
Like stabilize
to
the earth.
stabilize the Earth, because the Earth is much more energetic than what we would normally be able to handle on the surface of the Earth.
Have you seen the X-Men movie? There's this very first one, and there's this guy in the pyramid, and he's like the very first mutant.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he transfers his body with the sunlight to another body, but he's like
Transfers his consciousness.
to his consciousness to another mutant.
Yeah.
So he gains all these powers, but then these rebels smash the pyramids and try to kill him. So the thing wasn't successful. So he died. Not died. He had to live a very long time. So he was gathering all these mutants like Phoenix, and then he gathered Magneto. And when he did gather Magneto, his daughter just died, so he's all angry, and the humans figured out that he was a mutant. So they're threatening to kill his daughter too. So, like,
Yeah, we kind of talk about exactly that the ancients had all this extra technology that we don't know about, and it was kind of, they buried the technology somehow, or for some reason, whether it be good reasons or bad reasons, we don't know.
Yeah. And there's a lot of speculation that the pyramids were used for the purpose of kind of exactly what they do in the X-Men movie, of resurrection, of taking consciousness and either transferring it to a new body or restoring the body.
Right.
and we haven't really explored much of those pyramids. We've only just explored so much of it.
Well, they're discovering all kinds of stuff below the pyramids now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they're just telling us that they've
Well, they're
recently discovered it. I think they've known for a very long time, but they're just now releasing it for some reason.
Yeah, I think they've been looking in there for and they're only going to tell the public once they have exhausted everything and made sure that there is no stone unturned in there. They can't have the public go down there and figure something out.
Yeah. And the military probably told them, like, the military or the government told them to, like, not expose so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's and I know we're running out of time here, but there's an interesting angle going along with this. I'll put it on for a future week of how UFO disclosure will be, if it ever comes, it will be intricately linked to an acceptance of the ESP science. So all the remote viewing and telepathy and that sort of thing that's right now dismissed as fringe science. Every single UFO account comes with accounts that these beings are able to communicate in that way. And the more what is considered fringe now understanding of human psychic abilities are something that the Egyptians believed, and it might be key to our fully comprehending these ancient temples and pyramids and that sort of thing, of opening our minds up to consciousness being able to operate in different ways. So,
Yeah.
but I thought that was really interesting. And I only thought of it just now. It was like you were saying, it had to be the military that told them to go ahead and tell the public about this. So if you're trying to slowly do UFO disclosure and slowly bring the public in on that, and you have to tell us about the psychic phenomena at the same time, then you've got to take the public pretty far from what we believe is possible now to another place, you know?
Well, thanks for listening, guys. You can check us out, Denver Theory Lab.
Spotify, Apple, anywhere you find your podcast.
Anywhere you find your podcast, you can contact us, denvertheorylab@gmail.com. You can make donations at PayPal at Denver Theory Lab. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, all those other things. Bye.
Till next time.